Welcome to a new type of ranking I will be doing. It's called ranking the first entries of 10 major franchises that I've seen. So, Children of the Corn will not be on here in Phantasm as of yet. I'm about to start that franchise. And Puppet Master. So, yeah, the 10 franchises I will be talking about will be Saw, Child's Play, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Leprechaun, Wrong Turn, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Final Destination, so Hellraiser. Those are the 10. So I will be going over the first entry in this video and so on and so forth. So what's my least favorite first entry of the 10? And keep in mind, I think all 10 of these movies are good, either good or great to fantastic. So nothing really bad to say about any of these. So my number 10 will be Leprechaun. This one is easily the cheesiest and funniest of them all. The rest of these are very serious. The first entries of these other franchises are very straightforward, but this one, it starts off, the whole franchise is just comedic the entire time. This one's fun to watch. It just lacks in the kill and the gore department. So a couple of these, but this one, it's just, you got a premise with a leprechaun who can do all kinds of stuff, and I feel like they didn't realize the potential for kills, like great kills in this franchise until way later on with like Returns, where finally this franchise got gore. But this is a fun movie. It's got Jennifer Aniston. It's got Ozzy. I like the characters in this movie. They really help the movie because it's very low budget. It doesn't really look that good. The characters save the film, and Warwick Davis does a good job as the Leprechaun. So it's a fun movie. It's just not big in budget and quality, and it's not the best of the 10 by far. So still a fun movie, but not the best, nowhere near. Number 9, this might shock some of you, and that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I did not grow up with this franchise at all. The first one I ever saw was the remake, and then the remake prequel, and then Texas Chainsaw 3D, and then finally I saw the first one. And then a few months ago, I saw the second one. As of this recording, I still have not seen the third one. I saw Next Generation on TV at some point, because I remember Matthew McConaughey going crazy, smacking himself in the face 40 times. But, so yeah, this is a franchise I'm not that familiar with. I have no nostalgia for the first one. But I like the grittiness of it. I like that it feels kind of like a documentary, just the way that it's shot, and the characters get killed in brutal ways without showing much blood at all. It has a couple of iconic moments, that ass shot that everybody likes, and then the woman getting put on the meat hook. It's got some gnarly kills for like no blood at all. And I like the story behind the filming of this movie. The only thing I do not like about this movie is Franklin. He is annoying, like abysmal. I just want to slap him in the face. He is terrible. But other than that, I like this movie very much. So, moving on.
Come on, Franklin. It's going to be a fun trip.
Number 8 will be Wrong Turn. This one has a couple of very cool kills, like the woman getting her head chopped in half right in the mouth. That shot that pans up and her body hits the ground. I like the multiple killer aspect of the movie. You don't get that too much in horror. It's always like the single slasher killer. In this one, we got a group of cannibal hillbillies in West Virginia. You got the guy from Ghost Ship. He's pretty cool. You got some beautiful girls in here. I don't remember there being nudity, but I like this movie. It has great tension, cool characters, and they're quickly set up, but it's got cool looking bad guys. This is when their makeup is at its best. In the sequels, their makeup gets worse and worse. It looks like they have masks on in like part 6. It's terrible. But yeah, a couple of cool kills, great tension, throwback to 80s slasher, kids in the woods, but these are like young adults in the woods getting picked off one by one. It's a fun slasher, early 2000s, kind of underrated, and definitely worth checking out. So, Wrong Turn, number 8. Number 7 will go to Hellraiser. Biggest thing I like about this movie is the effects by Bob Keane, the bodies reforming out of the ground, all that practical work is amazing. I love the score in this film by Christopher Young. This is one of my favorite Clive Barker films, period. and iconic killers, pinheads, Cenobites, they all look fantastic. This is easily out of the 10, like the one I would want after me the least. I would take my chances with anybody else other than Pinhead. Just the idea of hooks coming out and just hooking you and ripping you apart is terrifying. So Hellraiser, it has some draggy moments here and there with like Kirsty and her dad and whatnot, but a decent pace overall. I like the story, the whole love story of the main girl trying to get her ex-lover back. She's been cheating on the guy from Child's Play 3. Just a fun story, great practical effects, and iconic killers that don't get utilized that well throughout the rest of the franchise. I want to play a game. Saw is my number 6. Easily one of the best endings out of all 10 of these. This has a fantastic twist ending to be expected now by Lee Winnell, who wrote this, starred in it as Adam. This whole movie basically takes place in one room, but it's smartly written to like go back to the beginning and explain how they got there. It just jumps all over the place, and I just love this movie. It's a low budget film done right. It's also got an iconic score. Every franchise needs one. Child's Play doesn't have one, but this one, the score by Charlie Clouser, if that's how you pronounce his last name, it is fantastic. When that score, that theme song at the end of each movie kicks in, you know that you're about to get some knowledge dropped on you. The twist is about to be revealed, and you're just giddy with anticipation, like, what is it? What's the explanation? A great franchise that doesn't get as much love as the older ones, and it's a shame. Speaking of franchises that don't get much love, the next one is Final Destination number 5. I grew up with this franchise, this one, and some other ones I will get into later, but one that you won't see in here is the Hatchet franchise. So I grew up with the Hatchets, especially the Final Destinations. And this movie had an effect on me as a kid. It scared the shit out of me. 2 and 3 gave me fears for things I never would have had fears for, like showers, tanning beds. This movie is just fantastic. I love the premise of just an unseeable killer death, and there is no chance of survival at all. Like, this is the second one next to Pinhead that I will want after me the least, because you have no chance to survive in this franchise at all. But the creative kills in this franchise don't get talked about enough. The gore and practical work in the sequels are phenomenal, and no one talks about them. They always talk about other franchises, but shit, this franchise is freaking top notch when it comes to gore and creative kills. And that's why we come to see these movies. The first one doesn't have as much creative kills in it. You got Billy Hitchcock getting his head chopped off. That was pretty cool. But the whole shower thing, and there's not much creative kills in here, but there's shocking kills and cool setups. And that's what's so fun about this franchise. It's just seeing what domino is going to fall into the next one and create like this Rube Goldberg machine where, this falls into that and then this hits that. And it's just great. It's a fun franchise. And just like Saw, this franchise, the first 3, have a eerie, awesome, just ominous score done by Shirley Walker that as soon as you see that New Line Cinema like logo pop up and that score kicks in from her, you just know you're in for a dark ride. And I love that sound. It's just, it doesn't get talked about either. It's a shame. So Final Destination, number 5. Number 4, we'll go to A Nightmare on Elm Street. This franchise, I don't have nostalgia for it, although I did see them young, but I saw them like once. I just never got into Freddy. Freddy was just that one franchise that I was just like, meh, not my cup of tea. I liked the Halloweens and Friday the 13th, the Child's Plays, Final Destinations, all that shit. Freddy, I was just like, whatever. I just, for some reason, never got into it. But I saw all of them like once, and then I never went back to revisit them ever again until like late in my teens. So that's why you're not going to see this one in the top 3 like most people probably would. It's high enough at number 4 because of just the killer Freddy alone. I think Robert Englund does a great job as Freddy. The look of him, the glove, it's a cool, unique weapon. And just the idea and premise alone is very unique and cool. And because you're just screwed no matter what. If you fall asleep, you're dead. So it's just all that stuff is great. This one has its iconic score as well. That's basically something that can be said for a lot of these franchises, is that they all have an iconic score, and some of them get carried out through all the sequels. And I like this score too. And the whole 1, 2 phrase coming for you. Lots of iconic things about Nightmare on Elm Street. Nothing that I can say here that hasn't been said before. So let's just move on. Number 3, we'll go to Friday the 13th. For the longest time, I always thought it was Anybody else? But Harry Manfredini said it's ma. Kill her, mommy. Kill her, mommy. This has iconic things about it too. I just love the score, love the high body count, the Tom Savini effects. Great practical work for the time in 1980. This movie basically kicked open the doors for slashers. Everybody after this movie wanted to emulate and copy Friday the 13th. So all those slashers that you love, you basically have this movie and Halloween to thank, because Halloween influenced Friday, and then Friday influenced everything else. Everybody was trying to cash in very quick on the success of this movie, because Halloween didn't succeed as much as Friday did. When Friday the 13th came out, it was like $40 million. Whereas I think Halloween, it kind of slowly got like word of mouth and then became a big hit by like 79 when Roger Ebert reviewed it. Roger Ebert did not like Friday the 13th, but who gives a fuck about what he has to say? This movie's great, so I look forward to reviewing this whole franchise this summer, starting in May. I can't wait. Number 2, Halloween. My favorite score of all time is Halloween, period. Any genre, you name it, this one is my favorite. It's so simplistic, and just anyone knows it. Like, anyone who hasn't even seen the movie, you play it and they're like, oh yeah, that's the Halloween score. I've never seen it, but I know that sound. It's that iconic. The mask in this movie is the best mask out of all of them in any franchise. The lack of motive by Michael Myers is awesome until they ruin that in part 2 and so on and so forth. But just this movie alone, focusing on this one, no motive, is great. It's just like Billy and Black Christmas, no motive, and it just adds that much extra layer of eeriness. It's just like there is no motive. And you got a couple iconic scenes in here too. Bob getting pinned up against the wall. Even though the kills aren't gory, this is before that became like a must-have in slashers. This one still has creative, cool-looking, well-shot kills, like Bob's kill up against the wall, even though I think that's impossible. The strangulation of Linda, cool stuff. So just nothing I could say, once again, nothing I could say that hasn't been said before. Halloween's just a fantastic film, one of the best, something that I watch every single year around Halloween. But my number 1 is Tom Holland's 1988 Child's Play. This movie is why I'm standing here today. This is the movie that got me into horror. It was the first movie I ever physically owned on DVD or VHS, probably VHS and then DVD. This is what got me into horror. I just saw it on TV, got hooked, and never stopped watching. I was just always watching the TV guide, when's the next Child's Play coming on? Is it gonna be on again anytime soon? And then Friday the 13th too, every Friday the 13th on the calendar, I would look for that marathon to be on. So this franchise, just like Friday the 13th, this is what I grew up on, and Child's Play is just fucking fantastic. I love the character of Charles Lee Ray, his one-liners, and just how more awesome he gets in the sequels, especially 2 and 3. It's just a great character, just like Freddy. But Freddy, for some reason, never really worked for me. Chucky worked fantastically. And I think it has something to do with, just fear of dolls I had growing up, I guess. So that's what connected with me, was that I was scared of dolls. The main character in the movie was 6 years old. I was 6 when I saw it. I connected a lot more with it, and I just fell in love. Chucky was my shit, and I just loved them ever since. I haven't stopped loving them. I even love the remake that, hardcore, true Chucky fans like to act like you can't be a true Chucky fan and like the remake. I don't get that. Like, I like the remake, and I'm a true Chucky fan at heart. So you can like both. You can like the remake, and you can like the original, just like me. So I don't get all the hate for the remake. I never will. So whatever. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Child's Play is just amazing. The third act, him on fire, chasing after Andy, the tension in that scene, the iconic scene of him like revealing himself to Karen Barkley, you stupid bitch, you filthy slut. Just freaking hilarious and terrifying at the same time. So it's just a weird blend of emotions all in one scene. It's just fantastic writing, fantastic directing, everything. Brad Dourif is the man. So Child's Play is my number one. What is your ranking of these 10 movies? Put it all in the comments below. I'd be very curious to see what your number one is and what your number 10 is, especially. I bet a lot of people would put Leprechaun at the bottom. But let me know what your number one is. And let me know if I should continue this ranking series, if I should move on to 2 and 3 and 4. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you're seeing here, you can hit this like button, share with all your friends, become a Patreon to request movie reviews for as little as $1, and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.